We've been expecting a snap election for some time, although today was a bit of a surprise as that was actually going to happen. We've been providing training for candidates ready for this, but yeah, it is a bit of a snap reaction, but I kind of think the Conservatives have got it right. That's played right into their hands. They're on a bit of a honeymoon period, and they seem to be doing everything that everybody wants at the moment, so probably a good choice.
From a UKIP point of view, is it good or bad timing for you?
I think, as a UKIP point of view, we're now looking at rebranding and restructuring the party, which is going to be rolled out at our conference in September. It hasn't really given us enough time to react in the way we would like, but we've got a few weeks to try and get some leaflets out and do what we were meant to do 6 months on further down the line.
Because essentially, a year ago when everyone was voting on the EU referendum, that was, I guess it was the victory for UKIP to a degree. You started it on that road. Do you hope maybe to carry some, for everyone who was supporting Leave will maybe stick with you? I'm
hoping that we would still keep the Leave vote. I'm hoping the Conservatives will realise that. I'm hoping that they realise that they still have to do a strong Brexit because that's what people voted for. I think, however, many people are wondering why UKIP is still in existence. They don't realise that there's other policies in the background that were never brought to the fore because that was all being Europe and immigration. And I'm hoping they'll see through our weaknesses and still support us.
But when it comes to actually motivating the voters to come out, we've had an election a couple of years ago, referendum a year ago, another general election now. Could you see there being a bit of voter fatigue, or do you think people are maybe more motivated than ever? I
think the actual numbers will drop substantially this time. Instead of sort of 50-60%, you'll be more in the 40s. I think they've had enough of it. I think the Conservatives feel they've wasted 2 years of their government with David Cameron in charge, and they want obviously a long-term stability. They wanted the Brexit not to coincide with another general election. I understand exactly why they're doing it, but yeah, I think there'll be less enthusiasm at the ballot box this time.
But with just I think it's 51 days by my counting, can you see it now being a real scramble? It's going to be very different.
That's very, very different for a long-term expected election, which you can programme in for 2020. I think a lot of parties have been caught on the hop. We certainly have, and I don't think we're any different to anybody else. The Conservatives have obviously been geared up for it. They've got their machine rolling already. We've got an awful lot to do, and we've still got to choose 2 candidates ourselves who are definites. So you can see the chaos this is going to cause, and I think sometimes the voters are just going to go, well, why? Why bother?
So when you're talking about your domestic policies, what sort of things are you wanting people, obviously this is before the rebrand and the replanning,
yeah.
What kind of those sort of policies that you'd want people to know about?
Well, we want an all-English parliament because all the other home nations represent themselves, and we're the only parliament that has Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland in it. We'd like proportional representation because at the last elections 23,000 votes got a Conservative MP and 4 million UKIP votes got one MP. And I think a lot of people in other parties are feeling a bit aggrieved by the proportion of vote than the proportion of representation that the people actually receive in Parliament. We'd like a much stronger NHS. We'd like to cut our foreign aid budget to a virtual minimum where there's only for immediate disasters like for earthquakes and typhoons, that kind of thing, and not waste it on corrupt governments buying private jets, that kind of thing. That money's better off spent at home on our services. So they're major issues. We've got to try and get people on board to want to change these foreign aid budgets and understand where the money actually gets wasted.